GamingBolt presents 5 things Souls players hate about Nioh. It's nearly impossible that you haven't heard of Team Ninja's Nioh. The Dark Souls meets Onimusha meets Bloodborne meets Diablo hack-and-slash adventure has been making waves in the gaming world. After garnering strong critical praise, sales have been going extremely well, with the game debuting second in the UK as per Gfk Chart-Track. Nioh is a great game, but if you love it and have been spending several hours with it, you've no doubt discovered a few things to nitpick about. If you're a Dark Souls veteran, there are at least 5 things that can get you down about Nioh. Regardless, let's take a look and you can tell us what you dislike about the game in the comments below. Co-op mechanics. Perhaps one of its most annoying aspects to Nioh, which has changed since the alpha, is the co-op. Earlier, it was possible to drop in with your friends, but now you have to complete a stage in order to play alongside that friend. Why the sudden change? Well, according to Team Ninja, it made the game easy and allowed for higher level players to essentially power level you through the experience. So why wasn't this change communicated before launch? Well, we're not sure. As it stands, we can understand the reasoning, but it's still kind of annoying that we can't play with our friends whenever we feel like. Why not have an arena mode of sorts that allows co-op at any given time rather than gating the campaign experience? Lots of loot. You're probably hearing that subheading and thinking, how can that possibly be a bad thing? Much like Diablo, Nioh lets you discover different tiers of loot. You could come across a sword with a higher attack that's rarer, or it has a special ability, and that's not a terrible thing at all. But, much like Diablo 3 when it first came out, Nioh currently seems more focused on the amount of loot it has rather than the quality. This leads to more RNG as well and feels like a total waste overall. As it stands, one of the bigger issues with getting too much loot is how much you have to carry around, and that leads us to loot management. In Dark Souls, you discover weapons and armor that have specific purposes. Some weapons and armor may be more suited to your two-handed build, while others increase your ability to roll around like a madman. The point is that you never got too much loot at any one point in time, and thus didn't have to worry about managing it at all. You don't necessarily have to pick up everything you find in Nioh, but you never know when something may come in handy either. This is especially so when you factor in the different types of weapons, stances, abilities, and what complements your build and so on. If that weren't enough, what if you want to pick up stuff so that you can sell it later for something more useful? It may sound like business as usual for a Borderlands or Diablo player, but to others that are more used to the Soulsborne formula may find it a bit annoying to deal with. Easier? Question mark? One of the more subjective complaints about Nioh is that it's easier than its previous alpha. And hey, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Not every game has to try to beat you down at every opportunity. Maybe you want to just run around, hacking and slashing and making your way through the story. The thing is that some players reported the difficulty to be easier than the recent Dark Souls 3. This could come down to the controls improving since the earlier alpha days, or combat being more aggressive than Dark Souls. As it stands, there are Twilight missions, which are tougher versions of previous story missions, but with the potential for greater rewards. Again, it's very subjective as a whole, and we wouldn't put it past Team Ninja to introduce a higher difficulty sometime in the near future. Of course, it's also very easy to get one-hit killed by most enemies, so Nioh definitely doesn't shy away from punishing you with every small mistake. No direct PvP. Okay, so some people may not mind this at all, especially given how much there's already to do in Nioh, but the lack of direct PvP at launch is still kind of a bummer. You can still discover different gravestones and battle against the revenants of other players. Major rewards can be reaped in the process as well, allowing you to gear up for your own journey. Again though, it's not actually PvP, and if you're going to beat on AI enemies, well, why not just play the campaign? Team Ninja will give players the opportunity to fight each other in a future free update, but there's currently no ETA. And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at GamingBolt, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.